Good morning, you guys. So, I am almost 2 weeks post competition. I can't believe the time has passed by so fast. It felt like yesterday, literally. So, I want to share with you guys a full day of eating because I am having a little bit higher intake of food so I can really build these muscles for when I go to junior nationals. First thing in the morning, that I have is some lemon water. So I always have some lemon prepared in my fridge, and all I do is get a nice fresh glass and squeeze it in. Sometimes I like adding a little pinch of Celtic sea salt so that it helps with even more hydration. But I feel like I hydrate better in the morning by drinking this, and it also starts my digestion a little bit. So it's very refreshing, my go to. And then I start off with my day. I usually eat breakfast between 9:30 and 10 a.m. So this helps me hold off a little bit as well. It has some potassium. So all good stuff to start the morning. I'm gonna clean up here and I'm gonna start cooking for my husband mainly. He has a little bit of a different diet than I do, but all whole foods, all clean things. So I want to share with you guys so you have a little bit more of a variety of food rather than just rice and chicken. So let me just clean this up and I'll show you what we have in store. So, Vinny likes using sweet potato as one of his carb sources because it makes him feel good, it doesn't bloat him, and he feels like it's a good stable carb for the daytime while he's at work. So, I'm going to be making that for one of his meals today. I'm setting the air fryer to 400 degrees for 14 minutes so that they remain fluffy, but they get a nice gold edge. And I just cut them into cubes so that they cook evenly, and I season them generously with salt and pepper. For the greens, I'm using spinach. It's a big pile in the beginning, I know, but when you put salt, that starts to make them sweat and they start cooking down quite a bit, and it's the perfect amount for one of the meals, which is his ground beef meal, which you're going to see how I make that later. The sweet potatoes are done and they come out perfect every single time. This is gonna be amazing. It just smells delightful. Can't wait for him to enjoy this. So I thought I had some ground beef in the fridge and I guess I already had used it. So I placed an Amazon fresh order. So that has to come in later. I'm gonna make the Brussels in the air fryer as well. And then the beef. So I'm gonna show you guys that a little later during the day. But for now, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more on how I've been doing because post show is a reverse of getting lean. And while you're so motivated, getting leaner and leaner and seeing all the changes, this is the opposite effect. So now we're seeing me fill out just a little bit, but not too much because you don't want a rapid weight gain because that's not good for your health overall, but not good for your skin either. And when you're gonna compete again, long term is just not good. So for my hormones, we've been strategically adding calories in. Everything is basically the same as I was eating before. The only thing that we added different was blueberries into the diet, and I noticed that it was not going well for me. It was making me feel kind of nauseous in reality, and it was actually making me like triggered. So I was wanting more food, and now that I switched back to my original breakfast, which if you guys haven't seen, it's a different kind of concoction. It's like your normal ingredients that you would imagine in a breakfast, your oatmeal, your eggs, your spinach, but instead of it being sweet and salty separate, I put everything kind of together, but it actually works out. So check out that video so you can see the recipe because it's very flavorful. But I've been doing that and I noticed immediately that I haven't been craving things as much. I start my breakfast later in the day, as I said before, but even my next meal afterwards, instead of being hungry around noon, I'm hungry around 2 in the afternoon. So I've been having more fiber. I've been feeling more energized. It's really good for me. I do feel a lot stronger in the gym. And in the gym, I've been focused on perfecting my form almost to failure, but not exactly because we don't want to compromise that form. And oh my gosh, I've been feeling that burn every single day. Yesterday, especially, I even foam rolled and just sitting on the foam roller. Oh, it was painful. But slowly but surely, we moved that lactic acid. I've been incorporating a little bit more body sculpting into my routine. And I've noticed that it's been helping my skin out, especially with the radio frequency. So that's what I've been doing. I did have a few little cheat meals because I was celebrating my birthday and my anniversary. So I had some hamburger, some cake, things like that. And I am not ashamed of having to enjoy my life, you know? I work really hard and I'm back on track. I'm the type of person that when I see that, the skill is going kind of up a little bit too quick for my liking, we are toning it down. I'm doing the diet and the cardio and the training exactly how my coach wants me to do it. And I've noticed a lot of gains already within these 2 weeks. So, yeah, that's my update on how I've been feeling. But now I have to wait patiently for my Amazon order so we can continue the cooking process. But I'm gonna do stuff around the house. I've been being very intentional and actually praying in the morning, setting the right intentions for the day. And I feel like that's made a difference as well with just how I spend my time. I've been very focused and very mindful of everything that I do, including my social relations with other people and my interactions, because during prep, it's very, not in the sense lonely, but you do have to focus more on yourself rather than everything as a whole. So I'm very focused on like bettering relationships during this time, as well as bettering the relationship with my hormones, how I feel confident in my own skin as I grow a little bit more, and then showcase everything and all that hard work later down the line. But yeah, let's continue with the day. I'm going to show you guys when I have my breakfast, a little bit of what I have. So, good stuff today. All right, so it's time for meal number one. You saw all the things I topped it with. It's definitely very flavorful. I highly recommend you guys try it. It's not the most typical breakfast, but it is truly amazing. I also have my vitamins here. These are a combination of what my husband and I take, but what I take are some vitamin C, some muscle meat, which actually has some L-carnitine tartrate, which helps with like putting the fatty acids into the mitochondria. So we're using the energy well. It's supposed to help a little bit with fat loss, people say. So we shall see. I just know that I feel really good on this multivitamin, and I'm not sponsored by them. It's just genuinely how I feel. I trust their products because my gut health has been on point whenever I take this versus any other multivitamin. I also take some omega, which are my last two, so I have to refill it. some taurine, some NAC detox for my liver, and some glutamine for recovery as well for my immune system, and milk thistle. So that's what I take in the morning with my meal. I have to make sure that I take the multivitamin and everything like that with the food, because if not, my stomach will not do well. And it's also a way for you to actually absorb the nutrients, because if you just do it separately, you're not really getting the benefits out of it. So this is what I have for breakfast, and I'm gonna enjoy this. Today is actually my rest day, so I'm gonna be eating my pre-workout and my post-workout meal like normal, but there's not gonna be a workout in between. I'm gonna be working a lot all day, especially for like some Halloween specials that I'm doing. So make sure that you follow Sculpted by Christy on Instagram so you can see what that's about. But now it's time for me to enjoy this because it's past 10 and I am actually really hungry right now. So I miss this so much. So it's almost 2 in the afternoon and I feel like the day is just passing by way too fast. I've been on the computer this whole entire time, so now it's time to eat. I'm going to be having my pre-workout meal even though I'm not working out today. It's just tilapia and rice. Very basic, very simplistic, but it works. The whole point of having something like this before a workout is so that it's fast digesting and it gives me enough protein and enough carb sources, the glycogen going to my muscles, so I can really work hard at the gym and not feel bloated in any which way. Right now, we're going to be having that because that's usually what I have during this time, but I could have had my other meals if I wanted to. I just like to keep things very consistent so that my body doesn't react in any odd way. My digestive system is still very delicate from the show. Right now, I'm going to be eating 175 grams of rice, which is way more than what I was consuming on prep. And on prep, I was eating quite a bit of rice still. I was pretty impressed that with each prep, I got to eat more and more, and my weight stayed pretty darn decent, almost the same. I actually even dropped down from my flight to 99 pounds. I haven't been like that in years. So it was interesting to see. It was shocking. So I got my 175 grams of rice. Now I'm going to get the tilapia. That's just 100. The protein has remained the same amount. What we have adjusted so far is increasing a little bit of the fats and increasing carbs. That's basically what we've been working on to slowly make my body get used to more food, because when I ate the burger, even though it's like a burger and I had that before in my other cheat meals, it's always been fine, but this time it was like very uncomfortable, the feeling, I gotta say. The thing that didn't make me feel uncomfortable was my cookie post show. There, I felt fine, but maybe it was like just the first thing that I ate and the adrenaline of the whole entire show experience. So I'm not sure, but my digestive system has to get back on track. So now we have this, and we're just gonna heat it up for 2 minutes, not too long, not too short. I like to have my food pretty warm now so that it fills up my stomach even more after the whole entire prep. I've been used to that beforehand. I could even go to a road trip and have my food basically almost frozen and be able to eat it. And now I have to like legit stop, heat it up quite a bit, and then I get to enjoy it. So the only other thing that I like to add is more Celtic salt. I am a salty fanatic, but my body really needs it. I sweat quite a bit with the training, and I'm still doing not as much cardio, but I still have cardio in my plan. So, in taking the salt adds to the hydration that I really need, and I do feel a big difference when I do add the salt versus when I don't. So, that's what I'm doing. I am going to basically just wait. So, I'm excited to have my food. It's officially lunchtime. Look at how much food. It is super clean. It actually smells pretty good. There is so much abundance of food. I love having this, especially a little bit warmer, because it's like a little warm hug in my belly. And then I just wait a tiny bit, get ready, usually to go to the gym. And by the time that I'm ready to train, I feel perfect. So I love having this every single day. I haven't gotten tired of it, and it's been about 6 months already that I've been competing, because my first show was in May and we're already in like the middle of October. So it's almost been half a year and it's passing by so fast. I'm not tired of my food. I made this into my lifestyle. I'm so proud of myself, honestly, because if you guys don't know, I am actually a very big foodie. I love to cook, in specific Italian food. And I used to make a ton of pasta and things like that, and I haven't forgotten. I still have my magic touch when it comes to cooking, but I've transformed all of my dishes into rice, which I wasn't that big of a fan of rice before, and I've grown quite a bit. I'm very, very proud of myself in that sense. Now, this isn't the most elegant meal to have. It's a bit messy because the tilapia itself, I break it up as well. So with the rice, it kind of like falls everywhere. But who cares? The food is coming in. I'm getting all my grams, all of them, because you'll see later the plate is going to be clean. So let me just enjoy this and then I'll show you that. You see, not even a sight of black pepper. Nope, nothing. It's all gone. The Amazon order came in, so now I'm going to be able to cook my Brussels sprouts. I'm going to be making the ground beef for my husband, and I also picked up some ground chicken. I haven't had that in months, maybe even over a year. So I'm going to have like a new little recipe that I'm going to make on the fly. But first, I'm going to start with preparing the Brussels sprouts, which we're going to air fry. So let me set that up, and then we can get started with everything else. I put the temperature at 350 in the air fryer, and we're gonna put it for 8 minutes to start. And I check it every so often because the Brussels sprouts, they get charred really quick and it starts to smell burnt. I like my Brussels sprouts charred but not completely burnt. But the recipe is super easy, super. So let me just prepare this real quick and then I'll show you the seasonings right now. So we prep the Brussels sprouts. All we have to do is toss them in and season them. Let's toss these babies right in here. You can hear them starting to sizzle. Make sure you get all the little leaves. Put the cutting board down. Then I'm going to get a spatula so that when I am tossing the salt and pepper, then I can mix it all up. So I generously salt it, and I like the taste of black pepper in specific. I get the restaurant style black pepper because it's more coarse. So I season it quite a bit, but you can season it to your liking. And then with the little spatula, stir it around. If you notice, I don't use any oil, any spray, nothing. They turn out perfect, crispy, but still with a little bit of a bit of sorry, I was going to the 8 minutes. They have a little bit of like moisture still inside. They're not completely dry. So let that cook in there. I put the spatula to a side so that I can, stir it every so often. But that's how I make my Brussels sprouts for my daily meal, which I'm going to have later, which that one I am actually going to have with the chicken breast I have left. And the rest of the meals, I'm going to have it with the ground chicken. So that's going to taste amazing. Okay, so I actually stopped it a minute early. They are perfect. You hear the crispiness, but they still have a little bit of moisture, so that is exactly what we want. I am gonna keep them there, and it's gonna remain closed, which is gonna finish cooking anything off that was like a little bit crunchy, so that's gonna keep it perfect. Now we're gonna move into the ground beef and the ground chicken. Starting with the beef and the chicken, we're gonna start by putting the temperature for the beef a little bit higher than medium, and for the chicken, it's gonna be low to medium heat because it's chicken breast, so it's 98% lean and then 2% fat, and I didn't put any kind of cooking spray or anything like that, so low and slow to hopefully not make it stick to the bottom as much as possible. We have to continuously stir. So I got my little wooden spoon here, and then this one to break up that ground beef because it's part of that cube kind. So we're gonna start by seasoning both of them with salt. I'm generous with the salt, especially with the ground beef, but I am mindful with the ground chicken because I feel that ground chicken has a little bit higher sodium than just regular chicken breast. So we keep it like that. I eyeball everything, so it's not exact measurements, but it's to our liking. So now we're gonna do the black pepper. I like to make sure that I cover like the whole entire surface, and that is enough for me. For the ground chicken, a little bit less because I am gonna add cayenne pepper to my ground chicken. My husband is not getting cayenne pepper in his, so that's just for me. He's gonna be getting oregano. I feel that oregano and the ground beef tastes amazing for the ground chicken. I'm gonna hold off on that. We're both going to have garlic powder. I am generous with the garlic in both. And we're gonna do a little bit of onion powder, not as much as the garlic, but a little bit of more sweet flavor. And both of them are going to have paprika. So let's cover that, and it starts heating up the bottom of the pan while you're putting the seasoning. So that's all good in making this a little bit softer. So then now we can crumble the seasoning through the beef and it remains kind of even rather than just having the seasoning in one part. So now you just have to put in some muscle work and break up the beef and make sure that you mix it and fold it so you can get as much seasoning everywhere evenly as possible. And once that is kind of like all over the surface, then we can just leave that there and move on to the ground chicken. Same concept. You want to stir through. The ground chicken is going to turn out a little bit more tacky while you stir it, like it's going to get stuck on the actual spoon. And this one's even more work, especially because of the lower heat. It's going to take a little longer, but it's going to taste amazing. I haven't had this in a long time, but I'm looking forward to it. So I'm going to leave that there. This one's already starting to sizzle a bit. I want to keep breaking it up so that there's more like heat able to penetrate through the sides and give it that nice crispy. I've already made ground beef for you guys before, and I always talk about like the cooking beyond just when it's like gray. You want it to be nice and brown. So it's not just until you see like the water come into the ground beef that's kind of like soggy. You want it to be where the point where it evaporates and then the actual fat that's left, even though this is 93.7% fat to lean ratio, you want that fat to be able to crisp up the ground beef. So it turns out even more flavorful because it's like if the spices are getting cooked more. Ooh, so good. My hubby gets to eat well every day, and he is getting his abs, and he's so proud, and I'm so proud of him too. Very dedicated. It's a lifestyle thing, guys. So now that that one is doing its thing, we can come back to this one. It's starting to cook a little bit. I think I'm going to put the temperature to medium heat to see if it starts sizzling just a tiny bit more. Yeah, it turns into like a paste. That's the only part that I didn't like about making ground chicken all the time and like the sodium content. But thankfully, my mom passed by and she brought me a grinder for my KitchenAid. So now that I had that idea, this was like a last minute idea, I am going to try to grind or make my own ground chicken and see how that goes, because maybe I like that for one of my meals at least. Oh my gosh, it's getting stuck everywhere. It's like a croquette batter, if you've ever made one. I'm Cuban American, so at my parents' house, my mom used to make it, and this is literally the exact kind of paste that it turns into before it's shaping them and frying them and all of that. But the ground beef is doing its thing. Now we can come back to stir it because I see that liquid coming out, and this is a big pan, so we want to make it even, and we're using an electric stove, so it's not as even as a regular gas stove top, but it does its job and it tastes great. But you gotta stir a little bit more often because it seems that on this side it's a little bit hotter than back here. Okay, perfect. Now we can go back to the chicken. Even my fingers are hurting, like right here in the palm. Ooh, it's hurting my hand. This is a well-worthy meal after all this work. It's like it wants to stick to the bottom and the sides, but it does not want to like cook in between. Definitely not a rest day anymore. I feel my heart rate going up a bit. Ooh. I'm gonna let that do its thing for a bit. Ow. So the beef, same thing, just stir through. There's still some red areas back here. And with ground beef, you do want to, in my opinion, cook it a little bit more because of the blades having a little bit higher bacteria content than just a cut piece of meat. So even with like my hamburgers, instead of getting it medium or medium rare, I usually get it medium well. so that I ensure that it's cooked all the way through basically, and it lowers the chance of getting anything. Alright. It's almost to the point where it starts using its own fat to cook it through, which is awesome. That's my favorite part. In making paellas, I believe that they call it a sokora, and that's when it's like the charry, crispy part. So I always think of that whenever I'm making the ground beef and try to make it nice and crispy. It's starting to sizzle. I can hear it. So you want to start scraping everything on the sides, on the bottom, and then this is a heart-shaped Dutch oven. So you gotta make sure that you go through all the grooves of that heart part and the point at the bottom. So finally getting slightly easier to mix up. I don't know. Maybe I'm not gonna attempt the ground beef part anytime soon. It seems quite a bit time consuming. So I'll stick to baking and grilling my chicken boobies for now. And then have that as like a little treat every so often. Alright, so it's almost done. I don't want to raise the heat because it's doing awesome stuff like this already. And I don't want to rush things either. For this one, now it's gonna start clumping up together and making like meatballs almost. So it's very important that you keep breaking it through before you just get a giant chicken patty. Something that I do want to try though, that I've been seeing online a lot on social media, is that pizza that they use the ground chicken as like the crust. I kind of want to try that one day and have that as like a cheat meal because it kind of reminds me of that Cheesecake Factory pizza style chicken parm that they have with the pasta on top. It's so good. Oh, I love Cheesecake Factory. Maybe I'll have that as one of my cheat meals. Let me know if you guys want me to try anything in specific, and I'll try it out. I love the Cheesecake Factory. I feel like that's such a well-balanced place and everything on the menu tastes good. So put in the comments down below anything that you would like for me to try. But for now, the beef is complete. One less thing to worry about. Let's put these things in the sink. That gave the ground chicken a little bit more time to cook down. And then we gotta keep breaking it up and make sure to get the sides because it seems that there's a little bit of raw chicken and I don't want to get sick. So on one side, same thing, it's a little hotter, so part of it is breaking up easier, and then I find in the center and towards the front of it a lot of raw chicken. I don't think I dropped anything back there. Good. It's almost done though. Like all of these foods or meals or food items, however you would like to call it, they're pretty quick to make in reality. So I shouldn't be complaining. about that because they're all whole foods and I didn't have to do anything extra to get this aside from order it. So I have to be grateful for what I have and make the most time out of it with my food because love is the main ingredient and all recipes are good. All right. Now I dropped a tiny piece, about 2 grams of chicken wasted. I believe it's done. So that is it. We have some ground beef, some ground chicken, some Brussels, and now it is almost 5 p.m. So I'm not even hungry, but I gotta continue eating because I have my post-workout meal to have now, and then I have my chicken breast with the avocado meal, which is gonna have the Brussels, and my last meal is gonna be more ground chicken with rice and eggplant. So we have a few things to eat. Let's get into that ground chicken and rice. All right, so we have the ground chicken and jasmine rice. It smells pretty darn good. I just gotta stir this together. Sorry for the noise, guys. But that jasmine rice, since I don't put like any oil or anything like that, it does get a little bit clumpy. So we want to get that through. All right, let's see how this tastes. It looks super hot. Yeah, I can have this post-workout every so often. I don't mind this at all. It's like a delicate flavor. It's not too heavy, but I do taste the garlic. I taste the onion powder and the paprika. It doesn't taste spicy at all. I can barely even see the black pepper. The salt content is on point. Yeah. I wonder how my body is going to respond because now post show, my body has been very delicate. So hopefully this doesn't cause any bloating, but we shall see. But yeah, I can eat this. It's not super dry either. With being so lean, I did a pretty good job. You guys, it's time for the next meal. I've had such an occupied day, and now we're finally eating this. I am not too hungry again, but this is actually one of my favorite meals of them all. I seasoned my dish with some cayenne pepper, black pepper, garlic powder, some Celtic salt, and for the avocado, I topped it with some Himalayan salt. I like a little bit of the actual texture of that salt on the avocado, and that's about it. And it looks amazing. It's very colorful because of the avocado, the Brussels sprouts that we roasted before in the air fryer, and the cayenne pepper. I love the combination. I heat this up a little extra because once we put the cold avocado, then it's like a nice balance. But yeah, it looks incredible. Can't wait. And I also received on Amazon a swivel chair for my studio. So now I have to build that. And then I'm going to have my final meal and call it a day because I've been working a lot today. So, so many flavors. I love me some rice bowls and I never miss one because I have one every single day. You guys, it's time for the last meal. So now I have jasmine rice with the ground chicken that we made earlier and roasted eggplant. I topped it off with some garlic powder, a little bit more salt, black pepper, and on the eggplant, I put the oregano. I'm not sure how it's going to taste with the ground chicken, but oregano and eggplant, ooh, they work so well together. I also have some wild berry zinger tea here with my NAC, magnesium, and vitamin C at night. This is what I take. I'm going to enjoy this, drink my tea, and go to bed because I've had a very long day. I have a client early in the morning tomorrow. But if you like this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to follow along in my journey, please subscribe to my channel. I hope you guys have a great evening. Bye-bye.